Hello.
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 Hi there.
Hello and welcome to another RadioTimes.com podcast. I'm Paul Jones and I'm with Kim Bond.
Hiya.
Hi, and we're going to be talking about last night's Love Island launch. Love Island Series 5 2019. It's back. How do you feel about it, Kim? Did you enjoy it?
So to begin with, I wasn't particularly excited in the run-up to the show because I just felt like it didn't have the same sort of excitement buzzing around it. I didn't feel myself being as excited. And you say we're in an office full of Love Island fans. I'm yet to see it. So I felt like it was a bit more subdued. It was just me.
I think the vibe in the office is good around Love Island. But anyway, you then they took you to Mallorca and you met everyone in person, and maybe kind of some stuff that didn't come across on paper in the press pack did come across in real life. Meeting them made a difference, right?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Like in real life, they're really, really entertaining. It's a really good bunch this year. I wasn't too impressed by the press pack in terms of what they had to say about themselves. I just thought they came across a bit kind of same as ever. But in real life, they're such a compelling, interesting bunch. And I'm really excited for this series to see how they all mesh and how it all plays out.
Cool. And what did you think of the first episode then?
It was a really jam-packed one. A lot happened in episode 1. So
Hour and a half, the length of a short film, or what I think should be the correct length of a film.
Exactly. It kind of did almost play out like a film. Like there was a love triangle already. People have certain opinions about other islanders already. There's new phrases we've got, and we're only in episode 1. So I feel like if it carries on at this momentum, it's going to be a really, really big series.
Cool. Well, let's talk about some of those particular items that you just listed. So, I mean, obviously we started off with the coupling up. Any thoughts on kind of how that went, how it played out, what was interesting or not about that, and whether you think we've got any good couples there?
I really like Yuende and Michael. I think even though they didn't really pick each other, they kind of just ended up together. I think they're actually a really good match, especially if they've both done science degrees, and they seem to just click when they were having their little moment bonding by
when they started talking about like we're both doing science, and she suddenly lit up, didn't she?
Yeah.
Which is cool. It was hard to tell whether that will turn into proper chemistry, but it's a good start.
I think they're really sweet, and I do like Lucy and Joe, but I'm doubtful how long they will last because I know Lucy's got a bit of a wandering eye. Tommy's coming in and Anton's already cracked onto her, and I know she wasn't that interested in Anton, but I feel like Joe is so sweet, and I feel like she wants someone a bit more rugged, a bit more of a bad boy.
I was going to say, talking of wandering eyes, Anton, that's Anton's line actually, isn't it, rather than Lucy's? So I think you might be right about her.
His medical condition.
Yeah, his medical condition, poor boy. So, I mean, he sort of set out his stall pretty early on, didn't he, in terms of, who he did and didn't want to be with and so on.
Yeah, I mean, Anton has got a bit of a bad rep. I really liked him when I interviewed him last week. I thought he was really, really charming, and he did say he's going to mix things up a little bit as he comes in, a bit like Chris Hughes. Like he came in and wasn't the nicest or most light islander straight away, but then eventually... And he
turned out to be awesome.
Yeah, I think he's the same kind of type. He even admits he's going to be the same type as Chris Hughes. He's kind of going to eventually settle down. So at the moment, the jury's out on Anton. I think it depends on whether he really does settle down and stay loyal, but he's already ruffled a few feathers because of Amy, because she's going to be quite popular, I feel, and he's already been like looking at the other girls.
So basically he coupled up with Amy and sort of seemed like he was reasonably happy with her, but then very quickly went over and kind of told Lucy that he really fancies her, and kind of that's where his head's at, so to speak. Yeah. And I mean, he told a lot of the boys about it as well. He kind of couldn't stop going on about it. I mean, are we allowed to say that someone's being snaky at this stage? I think like they've been together less than a day, but then some people do see it like that, don't they?
I feel like it's like he's right. It's day one, and things are going to change. Like there's going to be new people coming in, and not everyone really is even suited to their couples at the moment, I would say. So you are going to have your head turned, and there's likely to be a better match than him with Amy if he sees someone else. Because if you're not happy to begin with, then it's unlikely to really get better. But I feel that with Anton, yes, he spoke to Joe and he was very open about the fact he was going to crack on to Joe's girl, but it was more to do with the fact that he didn't speak to Amy before speaking to Lucy. I think that's what irked a lot of people, because he could have had the respect to at least go up to Amy and say, look, because he gave her this kind of long-winded, so who did you have your eye on, to Amy, and said things like, I think you're beautiful and you're lovely, and then suddenly it kind of flipped a little bit. I think that's what annoyed people. That seemed quite snaky.
So yeah, I mean, he did seem to rub people up the wrong way.
Yeah.
And even to be honest, at the start of it, with the the coupling and everything, I was kind of like, I quite like him. He's quite witty. So he kept making like little jokes that were reasonably funny, and sort of he seemed almost a bit self-deprecating. But then later on, you started to hear all this stuff about. How many women he'd kicked out of bed or whatever, or been found in bed with, whatever it was. And then there was kind of like what he kind of did with Lucy and Amy. Yeah. But kind of even from the start, he was getting a lot of negativity on Twitter, wasn't he? And like some of it was what I consider to be reasonable Love Island comment, like you've over-threaded your eyebrows, that's a bit much, kind of thing. You look a bit like this person.
His mum shaves his bum.
Well, that he told us that, so that's fair game. So I don't think you ever want to take that away from the show. And it's a show that is about as much about talking about it on social media as it is about watching it. But then some of it got really nasty, and there was so much of it as well. And it kind of, we were both saying it's like, we know that some contestants, some islanders have struggled outside of the show, and a lot of it is to do with kind of negative stuff on social media and trolling and so on. And that was brought home again at the end of the episode when they had the little tribute to Mike Thalassitis. And so, it's people. It feels as if in some ways people haven't really. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, we need Love Island has a duty of care, and they need to be thinking about how they kind of, treat these people and how they look after them." But Caroline Flack's one of the people who sort of said, "We need to be nicer," and then you get all that on Twitter.
But the thing is, Love Island is kind of like Game of Thrones in a way, in the sense that it elicits so much conversation from its fans, and there's so much to be said about it. At the same time,
sadly lacking in dragons, though.
With Love Island, it's the sort of thing is that it provides those water cooler moments. And the thing is with Twitter is it's like a spontaneous water cooler moment. Everyone's talking about it all at once. I feel like there is a lot of. I think we should be nicer, basically. I feel like Anton entered the villa already marred in controversy for another thing, but I feel that a lot of it got quite mean quickly, and not just Anton, with Anna, with a lot of the girls, a lot of people were very critical of what they look like. And if you think back to like Megan Barton Hansen last year, how much kind of awful stuff she got online for her appearance, people have to bear in mind they will come out and they will see what's being said about them, and it's quite I couldn't deal with it. It's so hurtful. And it's the fact that Love Island's now implemented, like producers from Love Island have implemented a new duty of care thing that involves bespoke social media training. The fact that's even necessary is shocking. Yes, Love Island should always have comment, and it should always have people, calling out things and making jokes about things and things like that. But I think you need to be more kind of aware of the power of your words than necessarily just tweeting out anything because it's funny. Like, I think you just have to be more conscious of that.
People need to sort of look at what they've just written before they press send and kind of like think about it in a wider context sort of thing. Yeah,
definitely. And I find it quite annoying because so many people said, boycott Love Island. Oh, it's such a cruel show, this, that and the other. But really it's not. Reality TV isn't necessarily cruel. It's more like, I think nowadays with trolling and social media and that kind of constant fish and chip paper, like yes, there used to be fish and chip paper, now it's a constant cycle of hate. I think people just have to be far more conscious of what they're saying and just be more aware, because no one could really take coming out and having all this hate about them. I couldn't. I don't think anyone could. So it's just the fact that people just have to be a lot more conscious and a lot kinder.
The show obviously has a responsibility to handle things in a certain way and to edit things in the right way and present people in an honest manner, but there's this responsibility with the viewers as well, isn't there?
Yeah, it's just we all have a duty of care. Like Love Island has a duty of care for its participants, and we should be caring to those on TV. I wrote a piece on this, and I think a lot of people equate Love Island because it's on TV 9 o'clock, like primetime drama. People almost view it in that way, and it is certainly portrayed in that way. But you have to be bear in mind that these are real people, and they'll come out and have to a real life and have all this to look at, and it's just a bit kind of shocking, really, that people feel that just because they're in the public eye, they have this ownership over them, they can say what they like. I just don't think it's acceptable.
Well, you want it to be a fun, upbeat kind of show, don't you? That sort of, gives your summer a lift, And you know, like I said, I do think, you know, we can make fun of people a bit and they can make fun of themselves and they open themselves up to it, but there's a difference between that and kind of getting nasty, and it's straight away, very early on. But anyway, we skipped over a few things. Just going back to it wasn't just the coupling, but it kind of stemmed from that. We've got 2 new catchphrases already, or one new catchphrase and one catchphrase that people don't really want to be a catchphrase.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got It Is What It Is, which Sheriff and what's his name? Michael. Yeah, they both said it when they both got pied off. They were just like, it is what it is. And I think they said it like 20 more times especially Sheriff, during the rest of the episode. Yeah, I think it's going to be on T-shirts everywhere. There was a meme on Twitter saying Primark's now like designing a T-shirt saying it is what it is straight away, and I think it's quite funny. It wouldn't be a terrible business decision. I mean, every Love Island series has... #loyal, that got a T-shirt, didn't it? Yeah, I mean, I used to be in Blazing Squad, Marcel's little slogan. I got a T-shirt with that on because I'm really sad. But yeah, I think... Marcel got a T-shirt with that on. Well, exactly. I think it's definitely something that will probably take off. The other one was Bev, and I don't think everyone was pleased with Bev because we all know a Bev as a drink, but Lucy knows it as an attractive man. And when I interviewed her last week, she said it's based on the fact that she lives in Cornwall, Newquay, and before she goes like surfing, there's a road, it's called Bev something road, and that's where all the surfers get naked before they go so this surfing. Is literally her own slang that she's invented. It's not like this isn't a Cornwall thing. I think it's like a surfer thing, right? Like, a Newquay surfer thing, specifically Newquay surfer thing from people who surf in that particular place. Yeah, so she was like, that's why they're called Bevs. Very local slang. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I quite like it. I quite don't have a problem with it, but it's just kind of it's sort of funny that she's trying to spread it. I mean, she's found a platform. She's got 3.5 million people watching. She can if there's any time that she's got the chance to take Bev to the next level, then this is it. So, you know, the more I've thought about it, I think all power to her. I mean, I'm not going to start saying it, but then that doesn't come up for me very much anyway. I mean, it's only day one. You can apply it to women, right? I think you apply it to anything good, can't you? I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good it's like peng or... Like peng. I don't know. I think the way she describes it is very much about men, but maybe it will spread and it'll become colloquialised about everything. But she's got lots of words she's going to bring to the villa, like schwoof and foofed off or something like that, and sharking. It's when you catch your boyfriend's toenail under the duvet. A very specific word, which I really enjoyed. Which means many other things in the context of dating as well. So she's got her own Love Island lingo that I think we'll probably be picking up on as the show goes on. It's kind of going to be a case of we're either going to love it and everyone's going to be speaking Lucy's lingo, or it's going to get irritating and no one's going to want to do it. They seem... Well, it's day one. Of course they do. They seem more open to it in the villa, I was going to say, than they do on Twitter. Yeah, Anton Dubev was brilliant. To be expected, I guess. Sorry, Anton Dubev. Yes, that very good. Still is funny. Yeah. So talking of Bevs, are there any that caught your eye? Or even platonically, anyone in particular that you like in the villa, male or female? I love Yuande as a person. Yeah, I do love Yuande. I think she's brilliant. When we interviewed her, me and the other journalists on the press trip, she was very reserved and seemed quite shy and a little more like not withdrawn. It's a bit strong, but quieter than the usual Love Island stock. She's a Camilla, right? You need those characters. She's a Camilla. And she's smart like Camilla as well. She's smart and she's beautiful, so beautiful and so just charming. I think it's probably the Irish accent, but I think she's great. I really like her, and it seems everyone on Twitter does as well. Lots of people back her accent is great. So I do like her. Anton, the jury's out. Whether he settles down or not remains to be seen. The jury seems pretty convinced, but you're being fairer to him. I think as well, Amy is popular and will be popular because she's so warm and so chatty and bubbly, and she seems to have a good sense of humour. I must admit, throughout the episode, I kind of warmed to her. To begin with, I thought, I'm not sure if I like you. Are you going to be a bit annoying? But actually, no, I see that there's a real nice person there. Yeah. And yeah, I'm kind of I feel like do you think she's going to kind of like stand up to Anton and tell him to sort his stuff out, kind of thing? And do you think she'll be confrontational? I feel like she seems like someone who maybe doesn't love that, but will stand up for herself. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. It's so early days. I'm not sure whether she will kick off at him, but I feel like she won't really take things lying down, I do feel like there'll be tears from Amy. I feel like she's never had a boyfriend or anything like that, and I think she's going to put on a bit of a front to remain strong in front of other people, but I think she will probably cry at some point. I think they all will, to be honest, but I feel that Amy's going to have a bit of a journey in the villa.
I want my money back if they don't cry, all of them.
With Anna, I think I like her, but I feel like she'll be the most confrontational, because she said in the interviews that we had with the Islanders before that she will fight. Basically, she will kick off if someone takes her man, and she doesn't want to be with just any man who'll have any vagina. So I think she's going to be quite
She did, just for the record, Kim did air quotes then.
I think she'll be quite good telly. I think she'll be quite entertaining. I think she presents a bit of a front again, but I think she's a lot softer. I think there's a reason why she didn't step forward for anyone. I think she's kind of afraid of that rejection. With the coupling up, she didn't stand forward for anyone. She said that...
Or she has high standards.
Perhaps, but at the same time, I think there's a kind of softness behind that kind of brusque front.
Yeah. I actually, do you know what? One of my favourite bits last night was, there was a nice moment between Anna and Sharif.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would come to anything, but they were sort of seemed to be. Do you think they were bonding slightly?
I just feel like she seems so much more mature than him.
Yeah.
Like she's 28 and a pharmacist, got a master's,
and he's 21. But you say that, I just remember what my favourite bit was, and it's because it involved Sharif, and it was Sharif giving advice to Joe. Is it Joe? Lucy's, yeah. And suddenly, he'd seemed quite naive, and suddenly he was like totally really wise, and it was a sort of almost like a Dr. Marcel kind of thing going on, where he was like, look, you just have to be yourself, and she'll go for the person that she likes, and other wise things I seem to remember. And I'm sort of hoping that he certainly seems wise beyond his age, because 21, that's, young.
He's quite humble. He seems very... I think there is a bit of a front in the villa. I think that everyone's putting on a front, to be honest, at the moment, because it's early days, everyone wants to be liked, and everyone's a bit fragile, kind of going on TV and doing something so open. But I feel like with Sharif, he is mature, and he seemed quite humble when we spoke to him, and was almost too shy to even come into the room when we were doing the interviews. He was kind of
I remember you saying he was sort of hiding behind the door.
He was a bit more reserved.
I think I might like Sharif. I think I'm going to back him for now, see what he does.
I think he's going to be the memeable one, because we've been sent press pictures and stuff, and the faces he pulls are amazing, and he's not afraid to start a joke, and he's started It Is What It Is. So I feel like he's going to be responsible for a lot of memes. I feel like he's going to be this series Wes, because Wes, did a lot of kind of birthed a lot of memes like Do Bit Society. I feel like we're going to see that from Sharif.
He doesn't seem cocky in that way though. But I'm hoping for more wise Sharif, but who knows? We are reading a lot into this after an hour and a half. A thing happened at the end.
Yes.
Two more boys came in, didn't they?
Yes.
Bombshells.
So in the kind of change to the usual Love Island roster, we got
a slight change.
The slight change. We usually have 5 girls, 5 boys, and they all couple up, and then someone comes in to break up those couples, or kind of to be the bombshell. For the first time, we've had 2 boys now come in towards the end of the episode, Curtis and Tommy. Tommy is very popular. If we just look at his reaction on social media, so many people are taken aback by him. He is so good looking. And he's only 20. He's very young, but he's very mature for his age. He does seem it,
yeah. There's another sort of slightly wise before his, above his years kind of thing. And you've obviously met him in real life. Thoughts?
Yes. Oh, I love him. He's got such a wise head on his shoulders. It's made me feel really kind of immature, even though I'm 5 years older than him. He was just so humble, so level-headed. He wasn't all up in your face about being Tyson Fury's little brother.
That's the thing we should mention.
Yeah, lots of people being like, that's going to be the new, I used to be in Blazing Squad. I don't think it is. I think he's going to be, he's said it.
It's kind of people already know it now, don't they? And it's he didn't make a big deal out of it.
No, he just kind of said it.
Came up.
And I think he's going to be really, really entertaining. I think everyone's going to like him. I think, to be honest, if he gets with the right girl, they could be the winning couple. I think everyone's going to root for Tommy.
I liked him so far. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sort of seeing what he does next. And coming in with him was another person with a famous brother.
Yes, so we have Curtis Pritchard, who's AJ Pritchard's little brother. I think he's younger.
They both seem just perpetually baby-faced.
Yes.
I think he is younger, yeah.
And he's also a Strictly star. He's with the Irish Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
He's ballroom dancer. I'm not instantly a huge fan of him.
I think you're being kind there from what you told me after you came back from Yorker.
I don't know. I was expecting a lot more. I think obviously it's first impressions and everyone's nervous when you're faced with a pack of journalists. Everyone's going to be like a little more reserved. But I think as well as he's been through like fame and been interviewed before, he was very guarded and didn't really let a lot loose. He didn't tell us anything, even the most innocuous questions. Like I asked him, will you be dancing in The Villain? He was just like, you have to wait and see. I mean, just say yes, of course you are. And it's just...
It already happened, didn't it? I love by the way, those little party scenes they shoot.
Yeah.
Which are just like brilliant, of people, the slow motion dancing, and which probably took like 4 hours to film, but it had like 10 minutes of dancing in it.
They're so gratuitous, but they're great. Yeah, with Curtis, I don't think he got as much attention as Tommy. I think everyone was talking about Tommy, and Curtis was kind of sidelined a little bit, but I think he will stir things up. And whether he dances in The Villa, I think being someone who's able to dance is automatically a turn on, so I think that will work in his favour. I can't really see him with anyone. It's hard to kind of partner him up. I can imagine Tommy and Lucy, and I think that's going to be quite a battle between him and Joe, but I can't put Curtis with anyone. I was listening to the Love Island official podcast, and I heard
it's
not as good as this one.
Not as good as this one,
but they were saying him with Yewande, and I was just like, no, I just can't picture him with anyone at all. With no one, maybe him and Amy, but at the same time, I like Amy, and I'm less impressed with Curtis, so I kind of don't want that to happen. But maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe he'll be the hero of the series.
Also, it was interesting. Didn't you say that he kind of like came across better in the show than he did when you met him?
Yeah, I mean, he was in the show for about 5 minutes.
True.
But I even in the show, I was like, for God's sake, like there was a bit where he got a text and he did this flamboyant like arm movement, like a dance move, just like
he's a dancer. He's an artist.
No one like gets their phone out their pocket with that kind of like Mexican wave. You just pull it out and read the text. It was really annoying.
He's a dancer.
And I was, but I'm
stick a flourish in here and
It's just I don't know. I get very like Dale Winton cheesy game show host vibes. I mean, I loved Dale Winton, so
yeah, don't
R.I.P. No offense.
God bless his soul.
But at the same time, I just thought, it's insincere, and I feel like we're not seeing the real Curtis. I mean, it's 5 minutes in, but I don't think I've seen the real Curtis from what I've seen so far.
Let's just go back to our early message of not judging people. No,
I'm sure he's lovely.
You're allowed to judge them. Just don't be nasty. Okay, anything else you want to add before we wrap up? First impressions. I mean, like basically, you're glad to have it back.
Yeah.
You've got over any initial sort of worries you had about that it might not suck you back in immediately.
Yeah, I was initially like, are we over Love Island? Like series 4 didn't quite.
I was
live
like,
up to the
Kim,
hype
you're
of series
so
2
not
and 3.
over Love Island.
No, I'm not over it. I've been sucked straight back in.
I'm definitely not over it.
And
3.5 million people are not over it.
Biggest launch,
biggest launch ever.
Yeah. So I feel like it's going to be a cracking series. I think series 4 fell down. It was too much of a Danny and Jack, and everyone else was kind of like in the background. But I feel like this is more of an ensemble cast. I think that everyone will get their fair share of attention, and I feel like it's going to be a really, really good series. But who knows? Who knows?
Indeed. Well, I'm sure we'll do another one of these on this subject on Love Island before the end of the series. And we will have an update about how we feel about things and how they've developed then. Until then, or until next week when we talk about something else, thanks for joining us. And see you next time.